Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? Good morning, Aussie Girl Jen. Good morning, Bethy Cakes. Good morning, Southern Lady. Good morning, Elizabeth Ferguson. How are you guys? Are we all ready? Everybody got their coffee and ready to true crime it up and listen to this trial? I have no idea what we have in store for us this morning as far as who is going to be on the witness list, how they are going to start, but I am very interested, obviously, as you guys are as well, and anxiously anticipating what is to come. So, if you haven't already, while we're waiting for the trial to start, would you please give your girl a thumbs up? And if you think there's anybody that is just as interested in watching this trial as well and having commentary, share it out if you feel like it. I'd appreciate it. What am I doing? Oh, yes. Working on sharing the stream. Okay, so now upon further review for the 85th time, I don't know what that book is in the hand on the graphic. I'm not going to try to guess at what's that graphic. It's not a graphic. It's the whatever's hanging behind the painting that's hanging behind the judge's head. It's where the camera goes whenever the court's in recess, so they don't accidentally show the jury. Oh, absolutely. Okay. So basically what happened on the second half is the prosecution finished up their opening statements, okay, and then the defense gave theirs. And essentially what the defense their what their plan and their strategy is going to be is twofold, okay? The first part of it was basically about how George wasn't even there at the crime scene and didn't participate in the murders. And quite frankly, according to the defense, there's no physical evidence or an independent witness that puts George at the crime scenes. Okay. And that the second part of the defense sounds like it's going to be separating George from his family as his thinking and all of that, his behavior, etc. So one of the things that they said was that basically Billy, Angela, and Jake are all three peas in a pod, and they are liars. They are fraudsters, scammers. They scammed the state of Ohio, which is how or Angela and Jake scammed the state of Ohio, which is how they got that plea deal. And it's a sweet plea deal. If ever there was a case for the death penalty, Jake should get the death penalty. Jake is the one that shot all 8 of the victims. And George had nothing to do with it. George handles things the right way. George, when he and his wife, Tabitha, split up, he handled custody through the courts. And that's essentially what they intend to prove in a nutshell is not only did he not fire a gun, and even his own brother Jake, who's going to be testifying will state as much, that Jake's basically a liar, and that Jake is going to get up on that stand and lie because this was the other part of it too. The reason that the reason the defense says that Jake is going to lie is because when BCI interrogated George, and he says that they only spoke to George one time. George was only, no law enforcement actually considered George, to be a participant in this crime. Okay. And that when they did speak to George, what they told him was, the special agent told him, quote, "You can be a witness or you can be a suspect." And so at this point, that's essential. And and basically that was their attitude about it. And that is basically what their attitude was towards Jake as well. You can either be a witness or you can be a suspect. And so that is what caused Jake to say what he said during his confession, take the deal that he took. And that's essentially what the defense is going to be. Now, how they intend to prove that, I'm not exactly sure, because in in their opening statements, again, they did refer to George's ex-wife Tabitha, and they made mention of the fact that they were basically too young. Correct. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. And that they only spoke to him to get him out of the vehicle so that they could bug it. That's correct. Absolutely. Oh, and that George didn't do any of the obstruction of justice either. He didn't destroy any of the evidence. That was everybody else. And nor was he part of planning any of this. That was all everybody else. George had no idea. George George woke up that morning and he had one mission and one mission only. And that mission was to dismantle a building. And the only reason that, and the only thing that was suspicious about that day's events was that Jake was up before George was. That's it. And now, as far as them proving it, yes, Southern Lady, that's literally the defense. This is what I don't understand about that. The way that it came out yesterday, the way that the opening statements went yesterday, as far as the state is concerned, it sounds to me, and I think everybody in here who heard it yesterday would probably agree, that the defense or the state intends to call Tabitha. So I don't know how the defense intends to. I mean, they're not wrong about the physical evidence, other than like the shoes. Okay. But we don't know what the state has, what else they have, although she laid out everything in, bless her heart, excruciating detail yesterday. We don't know what else they have, especially with those shoes. Right. And, what they've got to do is they have got to put those shoes on George's feet. Okay. That's going to be key, I think, for the jury. As far as, again, separating him from his family and proving that he is essentially an outsider in his own family, because he doesn't think like them, he doesn't act like them, he doesn't do anything with them, right? You could only do that by having what would amount to character witnesses, right? And if Tabitha is testifying for the state, unless they are able to completely dismantle her direct testimony to Southern Lady, two sets of shoes. Say that 27 times fast. 2 sets of shoes. 2 sets of shoes. Yes, 2 sets of shoes. That's what we know from the opening statements thus far. I don't know if there are 3. There could, I mean, I can only go, I haven't, like, I was in and I want to thank you publicly, Southern Lady, for putting in the Facebook group yesterday, because I went and joined it, and if you wouldn't mind, Southern Lady, if you could, and I can't post a link because it's because you're not a mod, but if you wouldn't mind putting the name of the group in chat, I would highly, highly recommend that you guys go join that Facebook group. It is a wealth of information. It's very chill in there. I didn't see any drama or any shenanigans or anything. Oh, Southern Lady, you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. That's where I'm from. I grew up in Arlington. But yeah, it's a great group and a wealth of information. I just do not see how however you wanna do it, Southern Lady, if you wanna put the titles of all of them in the chat, however you wanna do it, it is oh, yeah, Small World. Small World. Speaking of Bedford, that old, grocery store, H-E-B? I used to think that it stood for Horst Bedford. It does not. It is Here Everything's Better. I don't have HEBs anymore, that I know of. I think there might be some in South Texas maybe, but there's definitely not one in North Texas anymore. But yeah, those are really great groups. I'm gonna once she puts the, names of the other ones, I'm gonna go and join the other 3 because I just there's huge it's a great source of information, and it's super chill. I'm in Florida now. I'm in the Floridas on the Gulf Coast in Holiday. That's where I live. So yeah, but I miss Texas. And I tell everybody that I, run into that's still in Texas, if just please go eat at Whataburger for me and then describe how it tastes in excruciating detail. We don't have Whataburger here, and I miss it so much. I miss it. And you know what else I miss too? I miss the Dairy Queen, because the Dairy Queens, and I don't know how they are all over Florida, just in my neck of the woods. They're those, like Orange Julius ones. They don't have food, and I miss the Dairy Queen steak finger basket so much. Oh, okay. If they all have the same info, well, then whatever. However you want to do it, babe. But yeah, it's a great source. Really cool group. I checked it out last night. Or not, I can't say last night. That was more like early evening before I went live last night. I was perusing the groups, and I miss Whataburger. I miss Dairy Queen. You know what else I miss? Brahms. Their ice cream and their burgers. Yeah. We don't have that here in the Floridas. We have other stuff, that's good, but I miss Texas. I miss it a lot. 2 of my 4 kiddos are still back in Texas, and I think, I think about going back to Texas, but at the same time, they do have one. Okay, so there is one in the panhandle of Florida. It's like 6 hours away from me, though. And listen, I love me some Whataburger, okay? But I'm not there's nothing out there would be nothing else for me in the panhandle of Florida. Like, I wouldn't go there to vacation, not to be ugly or anything, but I mean that I'm close to the water now. I don't need to drive 6 hours to the water. You know what I mean? Which I prefer Clearwater Beach. That's where I like to go. But I think that has the best. I've been to one of the St. Pete beaches, and it's a pretty beach, but I just think Clearwater has the best. That's the best. So, yeah. Although if I get desperate enough, You guys don't know. It's only been, let me see, so 18, no, 17, 18, 19, 22. I've been here like almost 5 years. Be 5 years this year. So, maybe if I get desperate enough, I will drive 6 hours to the Whataburger. But anyway, my two, my oldest son and my oldest daughter, they still live in Texas, and they have my grandbabies there. And, I've got 2, and I couldn't be more proud. They're just the light of my life. Um, but I would so much rather them come here than have to. I just can't. I don't think I could do another Texas winter. I don't think I could. I don't. Although I will say, I do have a very extensive and adorable winter ensemble. I have tons of cute little sweaters and everything else. Um, Tony, yeah. But I just don't know if I could do it. Like, I went to Vegas in December, a few years back, and I know that Vegas in December is not nowhere near the same as Texas in December, but y'all, it was 60 degrees there, and my teeth were chattering. Like, I totally got my blood has thinned, you know how it gets whenever you live in some place that's, like, warm. Um, aw. See, that just breaks my heart. This was such a, I mean, I can't think of any situation where, you know, something like this, um "Hey, Corky." Yeah, I know. Okay, listen, let me tell you about a Texas winter, okay? Now, this is the problem with a Texas winter, okay? "Hey, Support with Steffa, good to see ya." Um, when they say if you don't like the weather in Texas, wait 20 minutes, it'll change, that is true, and that's the problem. One year, it was, I'm not even joking, 70 degrees, all right? 24 hours later, we had ice, and it iced for a week. And so because it's like that, you can't ever, nobody really knows how to drive in it, and stuff gets shut down, and it's obviously hardly ever snow. It's mainly ice, and it's bad. And I just frankly can't do the cold. Okay, that's not true. I can. I just don't want to anymore. I just don't want to. Like, Shmita, when she tells me, like, when it's winter, she'll send me, like, screenshots of the, temperature where she is in the Canadas. And I'm like, I mean, are penguins walking down your street? Because it's freezing. I can't do it anymore. I just don't want to. But yes, Ohio has crazy cold weather. So yeah. And again, I want to get back to this comment. This was such this was so unnecessary, just so unnecessary. And it's just I can't. It breaks my heart, especially when I think of the children that were in that house. And I worry for, um, Frankie and Hannah's 3-year-old, because I think that while he may not be able to really articulate what he saw, because he was very, very young, it's stored in his brain. At 3 years old, that is something that is a lasting memory. And, so if you guys, wanna know what Southern Lady is doing, just real quick, these are the names of the, of the groups that, are about the crime that, she recommends, and they're, that's, go check them out. Um, I think that he probably remembers, and it's one of those impressions in his brain that he can't quite put his finger on. Do you know what I mean? And it just breaks my heart. Just breaks my heart. Yeah, oh wow. It just breaks my heart for those children and for the babies. You know, that the 3-year-old that that witnessed it. And you know he did, or at least the aftermath, because he told um his aunt that his dad was bloody, all bloody. And then, you know, Hannah Gilly was breastfeeding, and the baby was covered in her blood and and the dad's blood. I mean, it's sad, and it was unnecessary. For what? And that was before. That's another thing that the defense um, said yesterday, was that this was not about custody. That the motive was not about custody, and that George Wagner, he had no motive. That basically Angela's motive was this paranoid delusion that Sophia was potentially being abused as in a essay, um and you know, if I know I don't have to tell my familiars, but you know, YouTube doesn't like you to use those words, so that's why I have to use um the initials and whatnot. But um you know, and that Jake's motive for the crime was essentially he was mad that Hannah moved on, that she didn't want him, that she wouldn't take him back, and that she was seeing somebody else and seemingly happy. Good morning, and 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, I mean, and that George basically, again, George didn't have a motive for the crime. And frankly, I mean, he's not wrong. Okay. You, you know, George may not have had a motive, right? He may not have been, according to the defense, also, Frankie and George were quite close. And he considered Hannah Roden like a little sister. But truth be told, family, family is one of those things um, that would could potentially make somebody do something that would be out of character for them. You know what I mean? Like, I find when it comes to families, there's really like no gray area. It's either all in or all out when it comes to family dynamics. I did. I went in and looked at some of the documents, um, the discovery and stuff like that, because I was, oh, let me add this to the stream right quick. Oh, and we're off to a fantastic start. They're already buffering. So, oh, I will, I definitely will be asking questions in there. I didn't plan this very well. Listen, I'm a procrastinator. It is in my nature. I have always been this way. And every time I procrastinate, I tell myself, I'm never going to do this again. I have some stuff that I was supposed to be finishing up on. And rather than take advantage of the time off last week because the trial was postponed, I procrastinated and binge watched some stuff that is not true crime related, like some shows. And so I've got to catch up on finishing a couple of videos and doing a live and all that business. So I will ask questions. It's just going to probably be, I'm just going to absorb first. That's how I roll, really. I'm mainly a watcher. And then as I get more comfortable and I see what's what, then I start asking all the questions. So, yeah. Corky. Yeah. I can chitter chatter. I still can't work this chair that I got. I got it a while ago and I suppose I could read the manual, but sometimes it will just like, I'm not a very tall girl. I'm only 5'4", and sometimes it'll like lift up. It'll raise, and I have to fix it, and it feels like it's doing that right now, but it didn't. But I can't get it to go back down. So well. Super Mama D, hey, good to see you. I'm going to stream until the lunch break, and then I will stop and continue at since tonight is all day trial. Hopefully it will end like it did yesterday at 3:30. I'm gonna then pick up and I'll do a little recap of what went on in the morning, and then at 8 Eastern I'll then do the second half because I can't stream for 8 hours. I have stuff I have to do. I have a household to run. Hey, Amelia. Good morning. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and put in. Oh, it'd be helpful if I spelt it correctly. See if it does it. Okay, I probably didn't type it right. I think it's. Here's the link if you guys want to join memberships. Okay, Amelia. Well, I hope your kiddo has a great day at school. And if that's too much pressure, I hope your kiddo has whatever kind of day they're going to have. Also, I don't want to be judgy, but is this the only outfit that George has for court? Because literally everything that I've seen on the internet, including yesterday and today, obviously, and every preliminary hearing and all of the things, he's wearing this suit. Hey, Nonstop Mom, good morning. Good to see ya. Is the shirt different? Because it looks the same to me, babe. But again, I thought that the lady, or that the thing behind the judge was a graphic, and that it was
that there'd be some photographs of the crime scene, some of the deceased persons. the media is reminded that they are not to publish those. We are going to permit those to be put on the monitors here in the courtroom. However, because it is a public trial.
Well, good eye, nonstop
you
mom.
have others here. Everyone's reminded about the court's decorum order concerning the reaction to any of these photographs.
Just note our objection.
I'm sorry.
Note our objection.
Yes, to which the defense objects, but the court's overruling that objection. Also, I would remind counsel that we have a separation of witnesses order in effect now. The attorneys, I would expect the attorneys to help the court enforce that by drawing the court's attention to any thing that I should know about if there are any witnesses in the courtroom at any time that shouldn't be here. Counsel needs to let the court know that. And so, are we ready?
Judge, if you mind, I'm on Channel 5 out of Cincinnati, the ABC affiliate, and just to make it clear, this is just for clarity's sake, could you let the camera know what would be filmable and not filmable? That would be a judgment call, but we wouldn't necessarily understand what to broadcast or what not to, I believe.
So maybe counsel that's calling the witness could help the court with that, because I don't know what sequence you'll be putting these up.
Yeah, I mean, we'd certainly say no images of any of the deceased individuals.
Out of the judge mentioned crime scenes?
Say it again.
Out of the judge mentioned crime.
Well, I don't know what you're presenting, so I think I used the terms crime scene, so that might be overly broad, but if you're showing others, maybe you could alert us to what is coming up next, and that way. Is there anything further we need to put on this record this morning before we call the jury?
No, thank you, Judge.
I'm sorry.
Is there anything else we
No,
need
I'm
to
sorry,
put?
Your Honor. Thank you.
You have too many people talking to you. Is there anything else that you wish to put on the record before we call the jury up?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and let's bring them up.
I'm real curious about this other order. I meant to read it last night and then after I was live, and then I forgot because I was tired. I'm sorry, you guys.
This witness, it's my understanding, has opted not to be photographed, recorded.
That is correct, Your Honor.
What?
Media is aware of that.
Aw, thank you, Support with Steph. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know that here. Okay, so while we do, this is happening, Southern Lady. This is what I'm real interested in, and I know it's in the group. Are they allowed? Okay. Is there an option where if a witness doesn't want to be filmed, i.e. they don't want their face on there, are they allowed to choose with, okay, so can there be an option for no face but audio? Or is it all or nothing? Either you're recorded in total or you're not recorded at all. As I meant to look this up last night and I forgot. And while we're just kicking it, do we think that Jake and or Angela will take advantage of this not being filmed? But Corky, if you choose not to show your face, then will the court or the media, excuse me, will the media then still play the audio?
Mm.
Oh, Nonstop Mom has announced it. Okay,
Everyone may
okay.
be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We're beginning another day of trial. And we just concluded, you'll recall, opening statements this morning. Is there anything that any of the jurors feel that the court should be brought to the court's attention before we begin our second day here? Is the state ready to call its first witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jason, they will need you, when this witness is seated, I think they'll need you to adjust this monitor. So, all right. And the state may call us first witness.
Okay, good.
People call Bobby Joe Neely to the stand.
Okay. All right. So they've called Bobby Joe Manley to the stand. Bobby Joe is who called 911. She is the person who went to Chris Senior's home in the early in the morning on the morning of April 22nd, 2016, and she's the one who saw everything. Okay. So that's who she is, just as a refresher. I think you guys are all up to snuff, but just in case I have somebody watching on the replay, I'm going to do my best to remember all of the things. That's why I have had my 5-hour and my coffee in close succession, so I'm on the ball. I'm glad to know that they will play the audio because I would have been like very upset. Southern lady, listen, I am a woman of a certain age, 45 to be exact. And quite honestly, I need a little jolt. She went to all the other houses. Yes. She went to Chris Senior's house first and called 911. Then she went to Frankie's house, saw what knocked on the door. She spoke to their son and he let her in, and she saw Frankie and Hannah Gilly. Then she went to her sister's house, Dana. That's where she discovered Dana and Chris Jr. and Hannah Mae. And then she was not present when Kenneth's body was found. Obviously, that happened several hours later when nobody could get a hold of him, when the calls went unanswered, which they were anticipating them to go unanswered because it has been his practice to leave his phone in his car while he's at work, and he goes and checks at lunch. And when it got to be that time and he had not returned any phone calls or texts, they went down to check on him. And that is the male voice that you hear on the 911 tape on the call. And so yes, she went to all three. All three. Right, Southern lady? She went to all three. See, this was the problem, I thought, while we're just chit-chatting, waiting for everything to get started. Amelia, please don't ask me what that painting is, because I have been wrong 3 times when I've tried to guess it. I thought this was a prisoner. And yeah. Yes, okay, so there were 3 children at the crime scenes, okay? There was Hannah Mae Rodens, 5-day-old newborn. And she was at the home with Dana, Hannah Mae Roden, and Chris Jr. Okay. There were at Frankie and Hannah Gilly's home, their 3-year-old son and 5-month-old son were unharmed. Okay, I think just okay. Okay. All right, Southern lady. All right. Yes. Yes, support with Steffa. There was. He's 3. He's 3 years old. And when she knocked on the door, um, which she was obviously surprised that he would be answering the door. And then after helping him get like this, I mean, he's 3. She said, "Where's your daddy or dad?" And he said something to the effect of, Daddy's all bloody, or Daddy, a lot of blood, something like that. And yeah. So that's, there was this case long time ago in the 80s where a mom was home with her 2 children. She had a son and a daughter. And the mother and the daughter were killed, murdered brutally. And and when I say daughter, she was young as well. She was just a child. And the son survived. But he was around like 3 or 4, I think. And he was a witness, but he knows he was there, and there's something like nagging him at the back of his mind, but he can't recall what happened because he was too young. And so that's what I worry for with Frankie and Hannah Gilly, their son, is that there'll be something nagging at the back of his mind that he won't be able to really access that memory. And I know that in the case that I was just talking about that happened in the 80s, I believe that the son, when he got older, underwent hypnosis and still he couldn't recall what happened. He wanted to remember because the case went cold. And any little detail he wanted to remember to be helpful, to help catch the person who, killed his mom and his sister. And he was unable to. But he said that he thinks that it would have been easier on him had he been able to remember it, because then he could get like therapy for the memories. But it's been worse because he knows, it's like at the back of his mind, he knows, and it's harder that way. And that's just for him. I hope he doesn't remember. And I hope that he doesn't have that because of his age. They're like little sponges at that age. And I pray that he doesn't even have that nagging, knowing, but not completely knowing at the back of his head either. You know what I mean? because that would be just awful. And again, this was just so unnecessary. Just absolutely, completely unnecessary. And the lengths through to which this family went to plan this, carry this out, and avoid not capture, but being suspected, being caught. Yes. Yes. Support with Stefa. Yes. Yes. That's it. That this family went through. It blows my mind. It really does. See, now I'm really conscious of how many times I say because of yesterday's debacle. But I was blown away with all of the things that this family did. The planning that it took. Now, while I would agree that maybe you could get the idea for homemade silencers from the movie The Boondock Saints 2, yes, you remember? There goes another one. I mean, obviously they didn't use there's not an instructional video, and they did apparently look up how to do it. But the shoes, the fact that they left their phones with Angela and she texted from the phones to make it appear as if they were home. It's like they watched every single episode of Everything Ever had on like Oxygen or the ID channel or any true crime channel. But and took notes of what went wrong, because this witness has requested not to be filmed. And I don't know if they've also requested to not have their audio played, because they called this witness. So let me see what's going on in the chat over here. See what they're saying. Let me scroll down. Ah, cripes. Huh. All right. So I guess I don't know what they're doing. We'll just be patient. I think that it's never a good idea for the defense. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I caught it too, to underestimate for one person to underestimate another person. And I think that she has likely regrouped, thought about it, and understands that, because I promise you, while she was up there giving her 5-hour, bless her heart, opening statement, she was watching the jury, but you know who else was watching the jury? Her co-counsel. And I'm sure that when the proceedings ended for the day yesterday, they went back and they spoke as a team. And no, they called Bobby Joe Manley. That's the witness they called. But why we're not having any audio, I don't get. Let me see. I mean, yeah. Ball. Almost said it. I didn't want to. There you go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let me just rewind it a little bit because I know that I remember hearing who they called. All right. We haven't been sitting here for no way. All right, let's hear.
This is just for clarity's sake. Could you let the camera know?
Counsel
No im-
presenting, so I think I used the terms crime.
I'm sorry.
Is there anything else we
No,
need
I'm
to
sorry,
put?
Your Honor. Thank you.
You have too many people talking to you. Is there anything else that you wish to put on the record before we call the jury up?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and let's bring them up. Be photographed, recorded. And this
Hold on, let's see what's happened.
This witness, it's my understanding, has opted not to be photographed, recorded.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, council's or media is aware of that.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We're beginning another day of trial. We just concluded, you'll recall, opening statements this morning. Is there anything that any of the jurors feel that the court should be brought to the court's attention before we begin our second day here? Is the state ready to call its first witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jason, they will need you, when this witness is seated, I think they'll need you to adjust this monitor. So, all right. The state may call us first witness.
Your Honor, the state will call Bobby Joe Neely to the stand.
Yep, that's where we are. Bobby Joe Manley, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I guess we're all just supposed to sit here and not, are they not going to play the audio too? Are they questioning her? What's happening? And then I know that you guys, when I was scrolling through Law and Crimes chat, they were saying, "Good morning, Max 2002. Good to see ya." There were now obviously you can't rely on chat. That's not a source of information. That's not a credible source. But somebody in there was saying that Jake and Angela are not going to be filmed. There's no way that this can. What are they doing? What is happening? I'm very upset about this, y'all. Obviously, I don't have any patience. Let me go breeze over to Law and Crime and see what's happening. Just give me a second. I'm gonna see what's happening. Okay. First witness this AM, and this is pinned by Law and Crime. Bobby Joe Manley opting out of video and audio. So they can opt out of both. I mean, for Pete's sake, I don't want to be, I'm not going to, but should there be any exhibits, the Law and Crime can photograph the exhibits. I can understand her wanting not to be photographed or videoed. That I get. But the audio, it's all going on the record anyway. And see what's the bummer about this is obviously the prosecution has to lay out the trial or the witnesses, right? Like you would ideally want to do it chronologically. So obviously, you would start with the 911 caller, which would be, Jody Manley or Bobby Joe Manley, excuse me. But in light of the option, then it makes you wonder, so we're going to be sitting here and we're going to be watching, right? Yet at any moment we could be in another situation like this. Well, support with stuff that I think so, but here's the deal. The way that the closed captioning works is it works off of YouTube. So if there's no audio streamed to YouTube, then there's no captions. Yeah, it's YouTube's. It's the closed captions are generated from YouTube. So, yeah. So now we just got to sit here. I have no idea how long she's going to testify. I don't like, listen, you guys, I'm annoyed with this as well, because like if this admonition, since this is a thing now in this trial, like, why can't they just do it where, no, it's not. She is an adult. It's an Ohio thing, apparently, but it's also been, this is the ruling of the court. Okay. They would be there. Okay. All witnesses, whether they're testifying for the state or whether they're testifying for the defense, have the option to not have their face shown, but you can hear the audio, or both, not not their face and not the audio. Yes. So that is what that is what this witness has elected to do. And given the fact that I think you guys are right, given the fact that she was the first person, she's the one that called 911, they're going to have to go through and the thing is not only is she the person who called 911, right? Dana is her sister, which means that she has a knowledge of the inner workings and the dynamics in the Roden family. So then, oh yeah, Shmita, they do. So she's not only going to be testifying to what she actually saw, right? She's also going to be testifying to the you know, her relationship with the victims in this case. Okay, Southern Lady, that's perfect. So I don't know what we should do here. She probably is going to be testifying for hours, and I mean, what do you guys think we should do? Should I just end it? And maybe I don't know what to do here. No, Shmeda. I only want to hear what she has to say. I don't, like I don't understand. I don't like this. I think that the ruling should have been that you cannot have your face shown, but the audio otherwise what is the point? What if every single witness like Super Mama D said, what if every single witness takes this stance? Then what's the point of having the trial being filmed at all? I did, Mo. I went over opening arguments last night and the and for both. I played both. Not all of the opening statements by the state. Obviously, that was 5 hours. I played highlights, did a little discussion, then I played the defense, did a little discussion. Yes, yes. So apparently the way that it went down was this. It was George Wagner who filed this motion. Okay? Which is interesting to me. But you can watch it on mine because I streamed it. Oh, perfect. Yes. Yes, Quirky. That's what I think we should do. I'm gonna end this. You guys make sure that you keep an eye out. And like Corky said, stalk. Let me highlight this because this is an excellent idea. Hold on, where is that? And stalk my channel. And I will be watching it. And as soon as somebody comes on that is willing to be filmed and or recorded, I don't even care at this point. I don't care. But yes. That's my problem too, Nonstop Mom. Listen, I don't care about the video. Don't show her face. Fine. Cool. But let's at least hear the audio. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this now. And you guys stalk my channel. Make sure you have notifications set to all. And as soon as a witness comes on that is willing to whatever, show their face, just have audio, whatever, I will come back live, I promise. So just keep an eye out, okay? Thank you guys all for coming here. I'm so sorry that this happened, and I don't know why Long Crime is privating their video. I know that what they've been doing is like taking all of the opening statements from yesterday and breaking them up into smaller pieces. But as I don't know, last I checked, what's weird is, hold on, let me look at their channel. Because they had yesterday, they had quite a bit. They've unprivated the one that is basically the defense attorney's opening statements. They unprivated that one. But all of the 8 or however long that opening statement was. Okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Southern Lady. Okay, so let me just say this. Just keep an eye on the channel. Whenever somebody decides that they're okay with being filmed, that's what we'll do. Okay. And if that's just what we'll do. Just keep an eye out. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm so sorry that this happened. This is a disappointment. I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the trial, but hopefully this isn't going to be how it goes the rest of the trial, because otherwise, what's the point? But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your day. All right. Bye.